I knew he was going to do that. All right, guys, another Victorian lockdown. As you know, I'm in Victoria and we're being locked down again. So no fishing again. I was planning on chasing cod this weekend, but we're locked down. Last lockdown, I did a couple of gear videos for Murray cod and trout and kingfish and stuff. So this lockdown, I thought I'd do one for Australian bass. Bit of a story behind me and bass. I had never really fished much for bass before the last lockdowns. After the lockdowns is when I actually went out and started chasing bass. Not for the first time, but it's like I got into my first bass at Blue Rock like straight after the lockdowns. And yeah, it really sort of sparked catching bass for me. So it's all started in sort of the last like 6 months, or you know, since just before summer till now. So yeah, first I'll start with the rods. So you've seen this rod before. It's just a 2 to 4 kilo TD sole Daiwa with a BG reel on it. It's like the lightest rod that I'll kind of use for bass. I'll only really take this to Blue Rock. The fish are a bit smaller and stuff in Blue Rock compared to the rivers. So I'll take that one to Blue Rock. I'll throw the lighter sort of Topwater baits with it. It's got a little canine walker on it there now. I use that for EPs and stuff as well. So I use that for the lighter sort of surface sort of stuff and little crankbaits. The next spin rod I have is another TD sole with a Saltus 3000 reel on it. You haven't seen this reel yet or this setup yet. I use it a bit of everything. I use it for squid. I take this reel off and put it on a longer rod and use it for salmon in the surf and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a 3 to 5 kilo rod with 18 pound braid on it. And then I run 16 pound leader for the bass. So I'll take, this is my spin rod I'll take to the rivers, and the other little one is the spin rod I'll take to Blue Rock or the lakes. And then I've got my bait caster, which is literally my most favorite rod that I own at all. Probably because it's one of the most expensive, I guess, but it is a Daiwa Rebellion rod and a Daiwa Steez reel. It's the smallest Steez for bass. It's got 20 pound braid on it, and I have a 16 pound leader on there at the moment. And then I run 20 sometimes. I've been dusted a couple of times on 16 pound. So when I get dusted, I usually step it up to 20. But yeah, that's the 3 rods I run. I really love this rod. It's like the best rod ever. So yeah, that's the rods I use for bass. I'll get into some lures. So I'll start with crankbaits. This one is a Hester crankbait. I'm not sure what model it is or whatever, but Hester, like redfin color crankbait. Got that from Tackle World in Mornington. I have to upgrade the hooks on it because the hooks that came on them are really crap. But that caught me my first fish in Blue Rock on this lure, and it dives really well and swims really well. So I actually really rate that lure, and it's pretty cheap. It's like a cheaper kind of lure. So I really like that crankbait. And then I've got some little miniature old mate style lures that I got off Dinger from Murray Crab Fishing. Dinger's had a lot of success on them, and I've only caught like a couple little ones in Blue Rock on that, but they work pretty well. That's pretty much the extent of crankbaits I've caught bass on. I haven't really caught them on anything else. I've bought a whole bunch of other crankbaits. Like I've got Daiwa Steez ones in here and a Samaki one, but I haven't done a whole lot of crankbait fishing because I got my first one in Blue Rock on a crankbait, and then I pretty much went straight to chatterbaits, and I've had a lot of success on chatterbaits. So I'll show you the chatterbaits. This is the one I've had a lot of success on. I've had a lot of different colors than this in this chatterbait, but it's a Jackson jig chatter. So little small profile chatterbait, and it's got a little underspin on the bottom of it. So that sort of flashes, and then you got the flash of the chatter, and that's really cleaned up at Blue Rock for me. It's a little bit smaller profile, and I've got a Daiwa Bait Junkie 3-inch paddle tail on the back. I've had this in pretty much all the colors, and I've only got this one color left because apparently eels love them in the rivers too. When you catch an eel on them, that absolutely destroys your lure. So I've only got one left. I'm going to have to go buy more. I get them from Tackle World in Cranbourne. They're really, really, really good little finesse chatterbaits. I've also got this one that I think I got in a Tackle Club box, and it has a Pontoon 21, I think Ayana or Awana paddle tail on the back of it. Also came in a Tackle Club box. And then most of all the other chatterbaits are the same. This is a 4D chatterbait. I think this is actually a cod chatterbait, but it's a really, really small cod chatterbait, and then it will go good for big bass. So I've got that in my bass tackle box. And then what else have I got? I've got one of these Hell Yeah chatterbaits. I haven't caught a fish on that yet. I've only just sort of recently got it, but that's got like a weedless hook and everything in that. So yeah, that's like my chatterbaits. Then I've got some spinnerbaits, a couple of Bassman spinnerbaits and a Damiki spinnerbait. And then I've just got this little finesse thing. I'm not even sure what brand it is. A Booyah spinnerbait, little finesse one, small one, probably good for redfin as well. But I also have this chatterbait I got in a Tackle Club box again. And that's got a Pontoon 21 Jilt soft plastic trailer on the back of that. It's a bit of a bigger profile as well. So that's all the chatterbaits I use. All right, now the best part about bass fishing, surface lures. So in Blue Rock sort of lake, I've used the little atomic hard body cicadas. I've put some assist hooks on that instead of the trebles because they miss a lot. And I find the assist hooks have helped heaps. I've even caught a carp off the top on this. And then the same thing again, but just a different soft shell cicada. This is a Tiemco one. Just makes a different sound when it hits the water rather than the hard body one. I've caught bass on both. They're both the same, just a little bit different sounds, I think, when they hit the water. When you're fishing top water for bass, I haven't caught many bass on the retrieve. It's always been you cast it out, let it hit the water, and just sit it there. Like, don't touch it for a couple of seconds. Just let the lure sit there. Then you just shake the rod tip a little bit so the lure just vibrates in the water. So you think about when a cicada will hit the water, it isn't going to hit the water and then paddle like it's swimming freestyle like these do when you're retrieving them. They sit in the water, they shit themselves, and they sit there shaking and vibrating, and their wings are like going nuts and causing disturbance on the water. So that's what you want to imitate. So you just throw it in, let it sit there for a sec, and then vibrate it a little bit. And then if it doesn't get hit, you give it a couple of winds so it paddles, and then sit it there. And then sit it there for a couple of seconds, vibrate it again, and retrieve really, really, really slow. I've never had a bass in Blue Rock Lake hit on the retrieve. I've only had fish hit on the retrieve off the top in the rivers, which brings me to the next lure, which is my favorite bass lure, which is the Micro Pompadour. Best river bass top water lure I've had. You probably would have seen the session I had with Dinger where I caught like 7 fish off the top, with most of them being 40 plus. Which was probably my most favorite day I've ever been fishing. Just ridiculous. So I've got a couple of colors of these pomps, and I've still got one, the one that did all the damage on that day, still on this baitcaster rod. It's that color there. Awesome lures. I just don't know if it's the sound. They've got like a very distinct rattle, and when you actually put them on the retrieve, the metal sort of chinks around. I don't know if that might mimic like a distress call or something, but bass absolutely love them. I've caught most of them casting it out, sitting it there, and then when you shake it, like as soon as you start to shake it, they get smashed. And I've caught them on the retrieve with this as well. So they like it both ways. They come with a double hook on the back and a treble hook on the front, and they are absolute rubbish. So as soon as you get a micro pomp, splitties off, hooks off, new splitties, new hooks. I've been running these split rings there. And then just same size hooks, just a bit more beefy. But the micro pomps definitely need to upgrade the hardware. When I first got my first one, I saw the double hook on the back, and you can open the hook up by hand and pull the hook off. So they're just not good. I changed the rear hook as soon as I got it. I've never fished one with that double hook because they just look so flimsy. And when I caught the first fish on a micro pomp, it took the treble at the front, the one that it comes with, and that lasted one fish. Mind you, it was a 40 centimeter bass. I de-hooked that fish and it snapped two of the hooks off the hook, and then like the split ring was half opened. So if you're gonna get a micro pomp, 100% change the hardware. But yeah, that's all my bass stuff. I don't have a lot yet, but I think what has really helped in getting an idea about bass lures is swapping my tackle club subscription to bass and yellers. So I have cod lures coming out of my ears, and I sort of know what I like using with cod, and bass I'm still figuring it out, and the tackle club boxes have helped heaps. So if you're looking to get into something, whether it be trout or cod or whatever, I highly recommend getting a tackle club box, just for the aspect of learning, like just getting some lures and trying them and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't. I'm not affiliated or in any way connected to Tackle Club, I just like the product. But yeah, that's all my bass stuff. So yeah, if you have any questions about bass stuff, let me know. I don't know heaps about it yet. I'm just a bloke who's keen on fishing for them. But yeah, hit us up in the comments, and yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one.